Okay, welcome back everyone to According to Carlo. Again, we have another very special guest, someone who's an icon in the Mississauga real estate world, especially down in the Port Credit area. We have Kevin Larose with us. Thank you very much, Kevin, for joining us.
It's an honor to share.
Yeah, it was really nice that we were able to connect and get you to come here. The purpose of this podcast is to provide value and to give information to the people that are listening. Because a lot of people just want to know, especially in our industry, especially in the last 4 years, the market we've been facing.
Right.
What is it that people like you, where did you come from? When did you start? What was the market like when you started? And how did you get to where you want to know? Let's get a little bit of your story, and then we'll start to get into some value stuff.
Okay, so first and foremost, thank you for doing this. And just for the listeners, saw the podcast, thought I'd reach out to you, said I got something to share. And you went, come on, let's do that.
For sure.
So I think that's so good, yeah? We should do more of that.
Of course.
Really, yeah? So, and I always feel it's an honor to be able to share. So, I was licensed in late 2000.
Okay.
So my first year was 2001, yeah? And prior to that, it's funny, for anyone that's listening, and what we see out there is that I've always come from making a living selling something. So when I was in my 20s, I played really competitive hockey and then needed to make a living, moved out with a girlfriend and was selling door-to-door stuff, did that for a while. And then tried my stuff in different companies and selling alarm systems and vacuum cleaners, did all that.
Wow.
So there's some fun stories there, but came to Toronto from Montreal boy, came to Toronto in the early 80s, ended up getting into Xerox. And that was a really interesting journey, 10 years there with them, and got in the sales space and got promoted and felt good. And then opened up my own business with a couple of Zeroids, if you would, in that graphic print marketing space. And I was kind of the rainmaker in that partnership. And then that went bad and started my own and spent some time doing that, and it went bad. At that point, I was in my mid-40s, like early 40s, and had lots of friends in the real estate business. Downtown Toronto, Remax guys.
Yep.
You would know the brokerages that are still there. And they, they inspired me. If we could attach ourselves to one or two people in our lives that got your back and tell you when you're wrong and right, it's a gift, right?
Of course.
So they encouraged me to get in the business, and I had the two young kids, and Marlene, my wife, who had a really successful career in retail at a high-end retailer. She was at a very high level, and we had a daughter. There's some special needs there. She decided not to travel, stay at home. We were living in the Port Credit area. And then with the business was really struggling, and then getting the license, and then starting my career in 2001.
Right.
Yeah.
And you started
just before 9/11.
And you started. Yes, I was going to say that's the year of 9/11. So that would have been a little bit of a shock at the, just getting into the business.
Well, we all have fears.
Yes, of course.
So that was a fear.
Yeah, no kidding. So we had little blips in the market, and I guess that would have been a little one, but that didn't last very long.
No.
But you came in, the market was good, and you came in at a time where, I keep telling people I came in the late 80s, and so we went through the early 90s, and it was a pretty tough slug. But then after 95, 96, it just kind of took off, and it's been pretty good ever since, except for the last 4 years.
In that period of time, I owned real estate. I owned a personal residence. Right. And we bought our first home just prior to getting married in the middle of the 80s, when it was just, buy it for $1 and make $3.
Yep.
That was good. So, and then we saw the downturn, and then so we felt it. And funny enough, we did business with local agents in the area, people we know, Loretta and Ron, God bless him, Finney, that he was alive. He sold our home and helped us with it. It was just a great experience. I miss that guy. He was really a great guy.
Yep.
There's an example of how to do it right.
Yes, for sure.
So, we felt all that, but.
Okay, and you started right away on the Lakeshore office?
Well, I was told to interview brokers.
Yes.
You've been interviewed.
Of course.
So interviewed brokers, and I decided to go to Remax Professionals. And the reason for that is that if you remember the name Don Marlin.
Of course.
For who?
Oh, so you were down in the Port Credit at where the Second Cup was.
Right, and,
Yes.
and still is, really.
Yes,
Yeah,
yep.
it's not Second Cup anymore.
No,
but,
no, of course.
But I really didn't understand the business. I didn't understand grids and franchises.
I didn't know that's where you were. Okay.
Yeah, and I went there because I lived down the street.
Yep.
So I said, well, you know, some of the coaching or mentoring or suggestions from my friends is that, you know, sell where you live, right? So I ended up going there. And Don Marlin at that time had an office there, and we know the
Yes,
story
oh, very
around all
well.
that. And so, yeah, I ended up showing up, speaking to him, and it's funny. He had an open house. I got licensed, did an open house, and did 5 deals
Out of that open house.
from that open
Wow.
house in within a
Well, that's a heck of a
30-day
story.
period.
Okay.
And then didn't sell anything for 6 months. So,
Well,
but
you know,
that-
people would take the
yeah.
5 deals right now,
Yeah,
even if
well,
they do anything for 6 months. But
Yeah, well, I thought the business was easy.
it was
and
easy.
that's
Now,
not
we just
the-
talked about that in the last podcast, how, you know, when I started in the 80s, I thought it was easy too, because the market was crazy.
Well,
and then we learned.
There's easy, but
Yeah.
it doesn't last long.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how you went to the other Remax office, correct? From there, you went to
The Lakeshore.
Enterprise.
David Ferrari's.
David Ferrari's Enterprise.
Yeah, Enterprise. That was Three Max Professionals,
Yes.
and then went to the Lakeshore Road. It was. I was about 3 or 4 years before I did that. 5
Okay,
years before
okay.
I decided to
To make that move.
move. Yeah.
Okay. And so from there, how did you? What were the first few years like? Like what did you do to create your brand and to create that success, create that momentum?
Okay, so for the benefit of anyone that's listening, I think that it's with all the noise that's out there in the
course.
world, if you don't know how to communicate at a high level, to convert, to do those types of things that we could label, you're going to have a very difficult time staying in this business or being somewhat successful. So I remember, so I did the 5 deals, and then I was struggling because I didn't have any models or systems in place. I just had, I think the first part of the success, when I look at it, is just my enthusiasm and a sense of self-confidence that showed up around people in that open house, and others, I think, encouraged the opportunity to do deals. Yep. So, and then when I was struggling, I said to my pal on the beaches, like, this is what's going on. I'm just like, what do I do to build this thing out? So he said, you got to learn how to communicate. You got to learn how to be with people, talk to people. My big why, if you would, or what I wanted to do at the beginning was make money.
Of course.
Right? So he says, you're going to have to learn how to do that. So here's what I would do. And he told me about lead gen, like this is your schedule. So, Carlo, honest to God, 4 years, 4 times 3 days a week, from 9 a.m. till noon, I called just listed, just sold.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And then at night, because my wife wouldn't like me if I didn't, at 7 o'clock at night till 8:30, I would do the follow-up on the messages that I left. Yeah. And that through that, as soon as I got a stick on the lawn, I did everything I can to let the families there know that I cared for the community,
Right.
and that I would invite them, and that and then build relationships from there. And then I want to look back at that for, again, everyone, when the goal setting and so on, that, it's that we have to have measurable things we do every day.
Of course.
Because what it does is that it builds confidence through the process. It's a currency. That's where the currency is versus the deal, the transaction, yeah? And so I started with that, and then I decided that I'm going to build a team and I'm going to build a brand. So, but it started in that lead gen space.
Okay, so the 4 years you're talking about, was there instant success, or you're saying the 4 years that's what it took? Because we had that discussion in a previous podcast that you have to lay the foundation. You have to create the roots of the tree, and that 4 years that you did that regimented program is what created.
Yeah, I
what
think
created that success.
for us, and the constant interviews you've had and people that have been success in the business, there is no secrets to it.
No.
And I think that I will say too, is I've interviewed so many agents. I have a team of 16. I've interviewed so many agents, good, bad, or indifferent, with the lack of real sales experience, right? That their journey has got them to being a license and so on. And I think that makes it more difficult for them to be successful. But you need to have a lead gen model inside your business, right?
Yeah.
And so I created that. I came back from that background. I had that already.
Right.
And I started to see the success into the relationships, the opportunity, the rejection, all those things, right? And I think that, the fear of failure, the fear of not being liked, fear of looking good, those are killers. And so people won't step outside of that space because it's not comfortable.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's just human nature.
Yeah. And I think that all the team members that come and go, agents coming into your business and so on, we see more in them than they see in themselves sometimes.
Of course.
Right? So it's just the industry. We're never going to get that balance out there. We're always going to have the 1%.
Yes, no question. So when did you start building that team? At what point in your career? What year was that?
Well, I hung around good friends of mine in that Ken Shepard world and the Kenny
Yes.
McLaughlins, the
Yes.
Mike Clarks. These names might not mean anything to anybody. They had Paul Zammit, who has a good business in Thornhill to this day, a good friend of mine. They had teams when I started. So they go, Kev, you got to get an assistant or something. My first year, I think I did like 35 transactions. So I had enough business where I could afford to have an assistant, and that instantly gave me leverage, right?
And that's an administrative assistant, right?
Nothing new.
Yeah.
There, so yeah, I had an assistant, and then I ended up being responsible for somebody. So that was kind of weird.
Yeah. Welcome to
like
payroll.
I
Welcome to
gotta pay
payroll life.
somebody. Yeah.
What do you think you did differently? You had those great mentors.
Yep.
You had those great people to talk to. But you've also talked about people that have come and gone in this business and the team members that you've had.
Yeah.
What is it about you and what you did that we could share with the others? What makes that difference?
That is, okay, so it's hard to explain.
Yes.
We do have, we all have a winning formula. Like we have a way of going into the world and communicating with people. I think that if there's anything there, a level of confidence means a lot. Buyers and sellers in our business buy with good feelings, right? They buy with the heart. Yeah, the data, but it's an instinctive part of, I want to do business with Carlo or Kevin. I was interviewed and up against agents when we were trying to get listings, and I had no portfolio of listings, right? So I think what I realized that going after the money was not a good thing. That I realized that I needed to look at building trust. We're going into people's kitchen and asking for the keys in the house in about like an hour. So, I wanted to be able to build trust, to show empathy and understanding and being authentic. And I think that showed well when I first started. So you got to do that as an individual agent or others. You got to find out what that is for you and then lean into that space.
Did you learn that skill, or did it come fairly naturally? I mean, or was it just trial and error?
In that space, it's not an ABC. You do that and then someone can duplicate it. I think it starts with us, right? That most people don't work on themselves. And so what happens is that in a later life, they get a license, they're in their 40s, for example, or whatever, and they're scarred from whatever. I think that for me, I look back at it and I go, the ones that are successful for me, I had a sense of urgency. That it had to show up for me, and I had to look at it. I remember I was struggling and didn't have any sales because most of those sales that year was bulked into a very short period of time. So I said to Marlene, my wife, I said, the funnel is full. I mean, it's like it's going to burst one time or another from a lot of these conversations. And that's exactly what it did. So there was a lot of goodness in the work.
Right.
And not giving up.
And that leads to good things.
And the other thing too is that I remember, in no particular order here, but as it comes to mind, when I got licensed, I knew of the agents that were in our neighborhood that were big.
Yes.
They were branded out there.
Yes, of course.
I always was bold. When I first got licensed, I'd call them up to do their open houses. And it was interesting. The feedback I would get, the amount of no's I would get.
Yes.
I don't know if I was a threat. They didn't know me. I know they had a little bit. We all know our agents if they do some deals, yeah. But I didn't have a really good response to some of it. I would be calling them up. They would be on the golf course. They'd hang up and so on. And I think a lot of that had to do with the times, the sharing of, a little bit different now. So I thought, okay, well, I was bold in that space. And then a first year or so into it, I got a phone call from Paul Zammit in Thornhill. And he goes, Kev, you're out in Mississauga, Oakville, right? I go, yeah. He says, I want to meet Dan Cooper. So I've gotten friends with Dan. If Dan's listening to this, he'll love it. So he says, see if you can set up a lunch with him. So this goes back to who you hang with.
Of course.
Like when we first start out, it's that like-mindedness. We feel that we're not worthy of making a phone call to one who's branded, who's successful, whatever that interpretation is. But believe me, anyone that's successful has a relationship with time, so they have time for you. They want to share, most people do. So I called Dan up, and he goes, sure, I'll have lunch. Yeah. Went down, and he introduced me to Dean Jackson, which is a direct response marketing guy. He was doing a flyer at the time, a nondescript flyer giving out housing reports. And then years later, I called him up, and I said, let's put a mastermind together. So I had a mastermind for 6 years. Dan, Barry Cohen, Frank Leo, Jay Miller, Sean Lapp,
awesome
the
group.
Wright sisters.
Awesome group.
We had it for almost 7 years.
Wow.
So, and we learned so much. So going back to the beginning, reach out to the ones that do a lot of business and have a coffee with them, share with them. And if they reject the time, then you know that when you get to that space, you want to be generous with your time for others.
sure.
It's a powerful place.
That's a great story. Yeah. And we tell people, talk to people that are successful.
Yeah.
You know, and most of them, some will give you a lousy response, but a lot of people will be willing to meet with you and talk to you.
Yeah.
Because they're also honored that you're interested.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, it does feed their ego a bit, right?
Of course. You know, I've been doing this for 40 years, so I've seen some pretty interesting. You know, thank you.
Yeah.
I was 10 or 5. Anyway, I've seen some interesting cycles. The big recession was in the early 90s, and then we had a little blip in 2008 and 2017, and then of course COVID went absolutely crazy. But now we've been through I'd say a 4-year cycle right now where it's been pretty challenging. And one of the things that I find challenging in having the brokerage is getting the mindset of the agent, because whenever we listed something, it was almost a guaranteed deal in the last 25 years.
It spoiled us, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. Yeah. Those of us who remember those other days, I remember having a listing on Inverhouse, a semi for $142,000. It took me 6 months to sell it.
Yeah.
And when we sold, it was a big party.
Oh yeah.
So I remember.
We would go home with that 2,200, wouldn't we?
I remember those days. So it's hard. It's hard. What advice do you have going through what we just been through the last 3 or 4 years? What do you tell the newer people, or the people actually not the newer brand, because the brand new people actually in the last 4 years, in many ways are lucky. Because they haven't seen the craziness of the market and they're coming in tough times. But the 10 or 15-year veteran is really having some challenges. Yeah. What's your advice to those people?
Well, what we're seeing is the agents that have been in the business for a handful or more years that have done 10 or 12 deals a year. Now they're doing 3 and 4.
Yes.
And the reason for that is that they haven't built up a lead gen system, a database. They haven't touched it enough. They've been spoiled by running after the business and forgot about what they're really building. Correct. And I think that's not new, but make no mistake, that's generally speaking, that's
the most common mistake.
Yeah. So, most people that get licensed now or later, before, get licensed and are out to sell real estate, but they're not business minded. They're not building something that is leveraged out, right? So, and that's the majority of our industry. So as far as behavior is concerned, I think we're seeing something in this space, in this time now, that's very different than any other time.
Yes.
It is, when you take a look at what the government's done provincially and federally with the HST, and then opening up subdivisions that are trying to sell detached homes primarily.
Yes.
And then you're getting a running to the presentation center to buy them now. So it tells me that the buyers have always been there.
They are there.
Right?
There's no question about it.
So I think it's really important that one of the values we offer is pricing. But I think that a lot of these agents in that space are going to hurt for a long time, because the behavior within the buyers and sellers and what they look at as far as what we do and the value we offer as real estate agents is that we offer the same. Our value propositions are the same. And we are almost like that watered down
That's
commodity.
The perception of the buyers and
perception
sellers.
is like that.
No question.
So that watered down commodity as real estate agents, what the consumers have done is they've taken back the responsibility of looking in, because they can now, access to all kinds of different information. And then they make up their own minds. So they stay on the couch longer. You know, the goals of owning home ownership is there, but you know, there's a lot of noise in their lives, first-time buyers, and we're in the trickle of business. We don't have first-time buyers. Our business is unstable, right? So yeah, I think it's really, really important for anyone out there in the business really gets an understanding of what their core values are and what are they offering out in the world to their buyers and sellers that could ensure success when the time comes when they're looking at buying. Right? So the behavior is very different. There's a number of fears associated with the market, but we're starting to see multiple offers in different segments are really busy. We're starting to see it ourselves. You know, human beings, they herd, right? So if we want a good piece of the business that we can get in down times that you'll always have to be able to build out, it's a great time to do that. Yeah.
Well, one of the challenges that come to me almost daily is when an agent has a listing and they're really having a challenge on communicating to the seller on what needs to be done in these challenging times. And we're constantly trying to coach them into how to approach it, the dialogue, being confident in the discussion. That's critical.
Yeah, you know, I have to, you know, because I'm in real time with my team members, you know, so my team members have those struggles, you know, I remind them, and it's somewhat, I don't know if easy is the right word to give them perspective when we're not in the middle of it.
Yes.
Right?
Very good point.
But I think what's important is that each one of my team members have a reason for what they do every day, for their families, how they're made up, how they communicate, how they get stuck.
Yep.
And I think what's important is that we're always having an active growth mindset, and we're learning how to communicate with people. We're not going to be able to convince anyone to do something that they're fearful of doing or don't think it's the right time. So my coaching there is to be just really curious in how you can make a difference for them and not look at what your outcome might want to be.
The transactional mindset has to go away.
It
really does. We have to offer that, you know, that value, and people are looking for it. They're looking for it so much today, and we do have a lot to offer if it's done correctly and the dialogue is productive and providing value for that seller.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I have the privilege of coaching teams in Canada and the U.S.
Nice.
And I've been doing it now, it's my 4th year. I spend Wednesday mornings early. I was coming off the last call coming here. And these are small teams. They're 5, 6 people. I work with anywhere up to $1.5 million in GCI, so from $1 million to $1.5 million. And they struggle with working on the business because the leaders are rainmakers.
Yes.
So they're always in it.
Of course.
But they don't step back and work it. And all they want is a freedom of time.
Yeah.
When they onboard and they write up what your goals are, they all want their time back. So, and again, the very few will do it because it's that endorphin thing and they run after it.
And the fact that you're doing that coaching, it keeps you so relevant and intensely into the game. And you can really, you know, the best way to understand something is to teach it. I read once. So it's an amazing thing that you're doing that, because that really helps you and your team, of course. So that's a huge value for your team. There's no question about it.
Yeah, for sure. But the behavior thing, I think it's really important that it's the responsibility of the agent to be able to be side by side with the buyers and sellers, not behind them or in front of them.
Of course.
Get side by side and be authentic and and help them make a difference for them. Yeah.
Most of us who are around know, I'm sure you spread yourself out around Mississauga or the GTA, but we know you as the poor credit guy.
Okay.
And so,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, that's a compliment for sure. Yeah.
So
that was my reason. That was the purpose of my
so
farm.
you started down in the
yeah.
poor credit area, and you continue to be.
Yep.
Why was it poor credit? What did you do to make poor credit to be known to be a poor credit guy?
So I looked when I wanted to build the business and I always wanted to get the phone to ring.
Right.
I didn't want to chase the business, and I felt that lead generation is not sustainable. I won't do it all the time. I've done it long enough, and I'm going, it's not something I could actually build on. So started a farm, and I just looked at what others were doing, right? And of course it was different before it is now, and it had different challenges, but some of the things are still the same. So right now our farm area, we send a newsletter out to about 28,000, 26 to 28,000 a month. We do it 10 times a year. And it's really South Mississauga. We've done some other things, but it's South Mississauga. So from South Down Road up through to Dixie.
Okay.
And we pocket it. And that has been a real staple for us. Once we got branded, we looked at doing that. We manufacture our own newsletter. We have a full-time marketing guy inside our hub. So, but we started a farm with the just listed, just sold. But I will say that every time we sent something out, I would lead gen the area. Right? So I go, did you get our flyer?
Brilliant.
Did you do that?
You need
no,
to
I
do
didn't.
that.
I don't do it. The junk mail, why would you bother? And then you fuel it through, or you build some resilience, and then you find a family that you can make and help make a difference for. So if anyone is farming right now, I would highly recommend that you lead gen. You call the families in the communities that you care for, and they'll be touched and inspired when you do, and it'll allow you to reduce the selling cycle.
Right.
So it's reach frequency. We do it every month. And you could spend a lot of money doing that stuff, right?
Yes, 28,000 pieces.
Yeah, 28,000, but we stopped just listed, just sold.
Okay.
We stopped all that. You look at your GCI, we do, and we were spending too much money at one time. Yep. So we're really tight around 10 to 15% of our gross GCI goes to marketing.
Okay.
So if we're doing 2 million or 3 million, you can get where our budgets are. And we want to make sure that we're seeing some return on our investment there. There's branding and there's direct response marketing, and we also have done seller workshops. So we find that that's been a big plus for us.
Now, obviously, for the audience, for the sake of the audience, if I pick a 2,000 home farming area, that's got to have some level of turnover, of course.
Yep.
You know, as an individual. What's that number? What did you find is to be that critical number to at least get started?
Right. So we started at 5,000.
Okay.
And so we wanted to make sure that it turned over at least 20%.
Yes.
Right. So there's a turnover factor.
Course.
Then we looked at what agents are doing most of the business.
Of course.
And is this something we would have an opportunity to be top of mind, and can we get our share of the business?
Right.
So if I went into poor credit saying, can I get 10 deals out of there from the phone ringing to us?
Yep.
Right? And the numbers showed that. So anyone that's looking at farming, look at a small area. I know some agents that have a database of 500 or 600 and do very well. So, but if you're farming out there and you're becoming brand recognized, then you got to have at least 30 to 50 transactions a year coming out of that community.
Right.
Right.
To make it worth.
And then you look, if one dominates, there might be room for you.
Correct.
If there's several that are, and there's no recognition, you can tell the types of buyers and sellers that come in there. So, yeah, you need to do your research for sure.
The key, once you do the research, but the key in all this, if I hear you correctly, is consistency, is persistence and consistency.
Yeah.
Because people give up. I mean, I've had people come and see me. I sent out 3,000 flyers yesterday, but I didn't get a call. And I go, hey.
Well, you know,
hey, that takes years to.
Yeah, Carlos, I think that's an old story too.
Yeah.
We see that all the time, right? And again, this is what happens with the 1% that constantly do it over and over again. It's no surprise, just their level of wanting to leverage and make it a business versus selling to their mom and dad or family or whatever. It's different.
Correct.
Yeah.
No question about it. So Kevin, you had built a business pre-social media, and you had done very well. Tell me about now with the social media aspect of it. Tell me where that has changed or how you've leveraged social media in your business.
This obviously AI and social media is just a fabric of our business now more than ever. And I think first of all, I think there's a lot of noise in that space.
Of course, yes.
And I think that it encourages ego and encourages a number of things that I don't think in some ways benefit, in some ways don't benefit our industry. So we come at it as a more professional piece. There's videos. I think how we've used social media is leverage on the branding and the farming we do. Because I find that almost 100% of the time when I'm competing for the business and the phone rings, is that they have ended up Googling our brand, Googling my name. And they see Google reviews, and they start online looking, look at social media.
That's where everyone starts, no question about it.
And so, and we have core values, we have a certain look at our brand, and we want people to be introduced to the team members within our brand. We're a boutique, smaller team, not the mega team, so, and we're gonna be liked by certain people, right? So, so we use it as leverage. And we encourage our team members to do more and more, to get uncomfortable and get in front of the camera. And we have an opinion that it's kind of, it's good for us. It's good to do that. It's good to build confidence in that space. Good to talk to our value prop.
But you would have some controls and some policies on how your team presents themselves.
Our marketing guy does all the videos. They're on schedule.
Yeah.
The names are attached to them. We talk about properties, we talk about interest rates, we talk about what's happening with the government, adding value out to the world, and we will throw it out through, depending on the segment and what we're talking to, Facebook, Instagram, different mediums that talks to that audience. Yeah.
But again, it's just a part of your business, of course. Still nothing like the relationships and keeping in touch with everybody.
I think that from a social media standpoint, if we didn't have it at all, it wouldn't affect my business.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I believe that, especially someone who's built it the way you built it for so long.
Yeah.
But yeah, social media is just part of everything. That's why we're doing what we're doing today.
Yeah.
And they brought me in kicking. They dragged me in kicking and screaming into social media.
Look, we're talking today.
Yeah.
So
we are.
I think it's
you and I are the wily vets, and we're talking social media.
I don't know if we're widely vets.
Well,
maybe you are.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe. All right. Sorry.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
Tell me what it is when an agent comes to you, a new agent comes to you and says, should I join a team?
Yes. Good question.
I love that question.
Finally.
Should I join a team or should I just do on my own?
Right.
I'm a big believer.
Yeah.
I want to know who you are first.
Yeah.
I want to know what you're about.
Right.
I want to know what your experiences are.
Right.
I always believe that, hey, let's try you. Let's see whether you can manage on your own.
Right.
And create a business, understand the business, and then maybe you're going to create a team.
Right.
Let's try that first.
Right.
Just running into a team, I'm not a huge fan of, although it's very appropriate for a lot of people.
You're not a fan of going to a team right away.
Right away.
Right. And why is that?
Because I believe that you should know a little bit about yourself first.
Right.
I want to know about you, and I'll know in 6 months or a year, I'll know what you're capable of doing.
Right.
Kevin, you and I know that really there's 10% of the people really do a vast majority of the business. And I always ask people, are you in the 10% or are you in the 90%? Which one do you want to be? And if there was a test that we could write that say, hey, this guy's in the top 10%, we don't have that. And I can't see it until, I've met people that I thought were going to be the greatest salespeople ever, and they couldn't do anything.
Well, you know what, Carlo? We do see more in people than they see in themselves.
Yes.
Right? And that's the truth, isn't it?
Yes.
So, and it's interesting, framing that question and with your experience, that I was on a coaching call today, and a gentleman that runs a small team in Wildwood, New Jersey.
Okay.
And he goes, Kev, he says, I'm going to be interviewing this agent. I'm just like, what are some of the things? And I said, yeah, he's just licensed and those type of things. Somewhat what we're talking about right now. So, and my own personal experience has been where my team members, and I can share this with you, that I am very extremely proud that I have sales team members that have been with me for 12 and 13 years.
And they came to you from the very beginning? Wow, that's pretty unique.
And our ops manager has been with us 14 years, as their family has grown up in front of us. A client care person is going to celebrate 12 years with us. My lead generating coordinator that takes care of our database has been with us now for about 6 years. Chris has been our marketing guy, has come and gone and been with us. Just sold a $2.5 million house, and he's our marketing guy. So I told him that there's a space on the team if you want to. So funny enough, but anyway, when I interview agents, I interviewed one last week. They came. And if I feel that there is something there intuitively, I'll do a profile on them. So I'll do a disc.
Yep.
And then I'll sit them back down and go through the disc with them.
Yes.
In the meantime, what I'm looking for is resilience. I'm looking for their story. Have they been on a team before? Not a team, but athletic team. Have they done sports? All those things we know about. Of course. That gets them, when they're in a corner, to fight it out, but do it in an integral way. What's their family background? How old are they? What's their situation? Why did they decide, other than liking houses and going through open houses when they weren't real estate agents? Like, why are we here, right? And then once I decide that they want to come into the business and I feel they're a fit for our culture and our core values, then I put them through a 100-day training program, right? So how I built the business that I'm in now is that a number of years ago, so that would be maybe 12 years ago, I started an ISA department inside my space, And then it was very hard to do that. So that was my lead gen model. So I'll get lead system, so leads, listings, leverage, right? So I needed a lead gen model that I wasn't going to do it, that I could leverage. So I had about 7 ISAs in there. And then I would be at night and I would be picking up the phone and helping them convert and doing all that stuff and showing by example. And then I realized after a couple of years that I'm not going to do that anymore. But through that time, I converted those agents that were onto my team. And I used the ISA program as a training platform for team members. So most of my team have been with me for years.
And so but they're with you for years because you're providing them value.
No, it's the culture.
And the culture, but that's part of the value.
Yeah, it's part of our value prop. But what ends up happening is that you and I become mentors for them, right? We care about them. And so, yes, we'll give them leads. Yes, we'll get them to manage listings. Yes, we'll put them in a spot to make them better. Yes. But their responsibility is to generate their own social media piece, and having our brand represented at a very high level. It takes time to do that, but it is the glue to everything we do, So
I'm not saying that there isn't a place, there's people that really, really flourish in teams that couldn't perhaps flourish on their own. I guess I'm just a fan of, let's see if we can flourish on our own first, then you can build your own.
Okay,
team.
so I'm gonna duke it out with you here.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's duke it.
Okay.
Because Kevin, I'm just trying to create Kevins.
Yeah, no,
you're trying to create.
I love this. I wanted because you have so much to offer in this space that I do. Yes. We just have different perspectives.
Of course,
right? It's not right or wrong.
We came at it from different angles.
Yeah, it's not right or wrong. But me running a team, I look at these agents coming in, and if we can qualify them as best we can.
Yes.
And then I think every agent that's newly licensed should not be on their own.
Should go to a team.
Should not be on their own. I'll tell you why. It's a reflection of our industry.
Okay, that's a whole nother point.
No, but this is my perspective.
Yes.
No, it isn't a whole pint in the big.
But
discussion.
I'll get to that point,
okay.
and I'll counter that because I'll tell you.
Right. How often do I hear from team members that they're in the middle of a deal and they are so disheartened on the process of transacting with another agent, and there's all kinds of stuff going on there. I think it's just their ignorance on the bad side of that equation, and the lack of training and commitment, and the reasons why they're licensed. And I think that our industry, if it's not taken care of properly, you have most agents that get licensed, Carlo, and they're functionary. They're not fiduciary.
100%.
So what ends up happening, and that's the reason why we are a watered down commodity. So they're out there and they're just telling and selling and sticking the sign on the lawn, and they're going to stage and they're going to do their database, and they got their buyers, and they don't take responsibility for the outcome. And it bruises our industry. So if they come into a team that's cultured, that has models and systems, that you feel you can teach them. They might go on. Carlo, Phil Wright, God bless him, I'm like a dad to him. He was my lead guy. He's 250, 300 in GCI. That's net to him. And he was just out there, and he was just hooked that brand. And now he's on his own. He does his own thing, and he's with our competitor.
So here's where I think we agree. It's just coming at it from a different point. So our industry has issues right now, major issues. And the point that you're making is very valid in that brand new people come into business models, brokerages that have zero accountability, zero training. That word's a funny word when I say training, but zero culture. And there you are 100% correct. I guess we're talking about the same thing, but when someone comes to me as a brokerage, I'm not a team leader, but my brokerage is a team. And so they get the attention that they need and require, similar to what happens in your scenario. I think what you're talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, is when they walk into an office with 5,000 people, that they're not getting that attention or getting that knowledge or that culture to help them succeed.
You mean the brokerage?
Yes. And so I consider I consider this brokerage similar to you on a different scale. Yeah, a boutique sort of brokerage that when someone comes to me, they're like part of our team and they get the attention and the know-how on how to be.
But our goals are the same.
Yes, yeah? 100%.
I will say though, if I could, that I think that in some ways, the franchise of a brokerage model is broken. And I think that this boutique type of franchise, I think has a lot more legs than a large one. There are changes going on in the industry in the US right now. And these mega teams that we both know, what's grown those teams, and I remember in our mastermind, Frank Leo was just starting radio. And he goes, okay, I'm going to give it a shot, see what happens. And now you can't even buy space on the channels, on the things, because he's got all over the place. But what it ends up having, and I've had conversations with Frank, he goes, they are coming because it's a team model. They're sitting in training programs. They can go to our open houses. We can give them qualified type leads. You as a broker, that is a very difficult, because they are sole proprietors. They're independent contractors, and you can't favor one to the other. So these teams are now starting to make a difference out in the industry, and there's going to be more of that happening. You got to have the fortitude and the longevity to do that, and the will to do it.
And you need the right leadership. And you're talking about people. You're talking about people that have that leadership skill.
Yeah, you have the leadership. But in saying that, I think that there's a lot of validity in a conversation it has, that coming into a team environment, what team members like myself won't necessarily do is hire someone knowing they're going to leave in a year. But there's really no guarantees as long as they fit within the culture and that. And my business is built on newbies. So I've learned them how to lead gen and role play and language. So
you've built a brokerage. You've basically
not really,
it's a team, but it's a brokerage, because you have these people that are underneath you. They're not independent contractors. I get it.
They're team members.
They're team members. But you're not selling right now, and you're providing all that support, all that knowledge.
So when we did our planning and had our launch for a year, we do it every year. So as we go around the room and share their goals personally and otherwise, and they say, here's the number that I want to do this year, and I ask them where they're going to get it from. And everyone on my team said there's a repeat and referral in Sphere, and it was the biggest gift. Versus going, well, I'm going to get something from the open houses, I want so many leads. They've all done that. And they do it because, they have a passing grade in the way in which they communicate. Right? So I think there's a big lesson in that space. And I think there's a real void in our industry on having an academy or a mastery, if you would, on what's involved in running a small business, a large business.
That we will agree on for sure. For sure. There's a huge hole there.
Yeah. I have ideas for that.
Can I ask, when a team member is with you, and perhaps they move on, like you said, this gentleman moved on, who do the clients belong to?
Well, they're his clients.
They're his clients?
Yeah.
So he spent 5 years with you, built up his database.
10 years. I give him the 10-year watch as well.
And so they become his clients. So he can take his database with you.
Of course.
So I hear some team members that's not that's not allowed, that they've built a team, that those names belong to that team member,
well,
that team leader.
Yeah, okay, that could be a little greedy.
Yes.
You're selling a house,
Yes.
and you've used Phil,
Yep.
right, for years. And I call you up and I go, well, Phil's gone, so now you're working with me. Doesn't work.
Doesn't go well. Doesn't
you know
go
what?
well.
I think, that whole saying, there's business for everyone.
Yes.
I totally disagree with that.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think
And that's
there's
I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really happy to hear that that's your approach to it.
Yeah.
Because I see it all too often that it's not the approach.
My business is not built on one person.
Yeah.
So I wish them the absolute best. I love him.
100%.
And he has done well for us.
That's
I made
fantastic.
nice money from him. And he calls
And that's a
me
nice
and
story
thanks
to see.
me, and,
100%.
it's like the best. It's
Yeah,
like the
no
best
question
gift we
about
have,
it.
right?
No question about it. I come to you, I show up at your office, I say I'm a brand new agent. What's the first thing that I need to know and do? What's your advice?
So I advice for someone who
Yeah,
just
so-
says,
so
Kev, can I have a coffee?
The people are listening.
Yeah.
What's the top 3 things that they should be considering once they've just gotten into the business?
Great question. So it all starts off with, my experience has been where they come to me like that, coaching or come on my team. So what's the big picture and how do we bring it back to what we need to do every day, right? So, and I want to understand that you need to have perspective on what you're doing every day, but it starts with who you are, start working on yourself, deal with everything that stops you. So let's have a conversation around that. So I come from, well, why wouldn't you do that? Here's what you should be doing, but I would say, why wouldn't you?
Great approach.
Come from that space. Why wouldn't you call? Why wouldn't you do these things? What is your big why? Most people say, I want to make a difference. It's my family and that. But if they're not waking up and hitting the floor with that in mind, then it's just conversation. Correct. It's not real.
Correct.
So the ones that are, want to really make a difference in the business, they're communicating it. And success has a lot to do, and it craves accountability. So you need to have like-minded people around you. You need to put a strong plan, and you need to hang around the people that are going to help you, that got your back, and pick you up when you fail.
Yes.
Then you look at language and skills and models and systems, a lot of things like that. But everyone that's getting a license starts out by wanting to sell real estate and getting that rush.
Of course.
And that. I'll tell you a quick story. I was in a family's home with a team member, and we did very well for them. And both of them were retired psychologists.
Oh boy.
And they said, and so when I sat down, and it was my team member made the appointment and so on, and wanted me to come on because to help them convert and just kind of do the things that help through the process. So when I found out that they were, I said to them, do you have any real estate agents that were clients? And she goes, many. I go, really? And I said, so why are they coming to your couch? I asked them, right? And she goes, it's a funny thing that most of the agents stay in the business because it's an endorphin rush. They can't get out of the business, and it is, the rejection sometimes is overwhelming. And because they chase a lot, that's when I first heard that, they chase a lot in their day, a lot of stress, a lot of not active mindset, and they start getting depressed, and there's some issues there. So I thought, well, that's interesting, because there is that fear of missing out. If you read a book called The Full Fee Agent by David Foss, he talks about how our industry chases the business. Mm-hmm. And that, and then there's language around how to stand in a foundation where you are not chasing it, but you're making a difference out in the world. It would be like someone calling me and saying, I'm interviewing agents, Kevin, I know your name and all that kind of stuff, and we'd like you to come over. And so the first thing I ask is that, I say, Carlo, I said, thank you so much. So let me ask you a question. Is any of the agents that you're interviewing, you've done business with in the past, you have a relationship, or it's been interviewed or sent to you by a referral?
Right.
And when I go, yes, I say, so what's the chances of me doing business with you? Mm-hmm. It's not good. So, and I've done this many times.
Fascinating.
So I have a request, and I mean this with utmost respect. Interview that agent first. If you feel that that's the person you're going to do business with because you feel you are, and then honor that. But if you feel that you want to hear something different, I'd love the opportunity to come in and see you.
Great approach.
And because what happens is that you're giving them the power, but you're actually holding all the goods, right? And then I asked them too, how'd you find me? Oh, online. What did you Google? So, and we're doing more Zoom before going over. So I think that if we stop chasing and not worry about the no, and stand in that space where you're totally confident, it's killer, right?
For everyone listening, I have to say, and I'm not because Kevin's my guest, he's taken the time to come here and share.
And you're recruiting?
Yeah, please listen to what, please listen to what, they talk about the top 1%. Kevin's not in the top 1%, he's in the top 0.01%. So that's not just because I'm just trying to thank you, but it's just facts.
Thanks, Carlo.
It's just facts.
Thank you.
So when people like that come on our show, people like Kevin and others that we've had, please listen to what they have to say. They've been through it. They know their stuff. And I learn from them. I've been doing this 40 years, but I learn from these guys because I don't do what you do.
Yeah.
And so I'm always fascinated to hear how you guys do it.
So I have a request. Yeah.
For sure.
So anytime you're doing a panel or you want a workshop or you want anything to help your team members, love the opportunity to help you guys. I just completed
Careful what you wish for, Kevin.
But I've just finished writing a playbook.
Okay.
So for my team, because they asked me to do that, I wrote it last year. So some good models and systems in there. But I think there's a real need for really solid
some
pieces
collaboration.
Like that. Yeah. And we're here to help each other. I'll be glad to.
Well, careful what you wish for, like I said. Thank you very much for that offer.
Welcome. Thanks for the opportunity.
And we'll definitely take you up on that, my friend. Thank you very much for coming.